Good evening. My name is Mick Blythe, chatting with my very good friend and tremendously brilliant person and PT, Joshua McDool. Kind of here tonight, Joshua, just to have a bit of a chat, really, mate. Me and you go way back in various different ways and fields, etc. So we're going to have a bit of a catch up because we've not done too much of that as of late. But in particular, focusing upon kind of you, where you started, where you are now, and in terms of what you're doing now, how that relates to the facility that you work in, the clients that you train, your training philosophy. Discussing the influence of training people during lockdown as well. And in terms of both short-term and long-term, where you see yourself and your facility strength positive going in the future. So for the benefit of our audience, I'm sure they all know who you are, but if they don't, where have they been? But if they don't, just a little bit more than Joshua about exactly who you are, when and where you started in the industry and kind of what you're doing now, if that's okay.
Yeah, cool. Great intro, by the way.
Cheers, mate. True, all true.
So, Josh McDool. I got started in the industry in 2013. Funny story. So I got the job through a connection when I worked at a nightclub. I served the gym manager's daughters 4 nights a week.
Nice.
From behind the bar.
Nice.
That got a good word in for me to land my first job. Started Momentum Leisure Club in Sheffield Centre, which is not open anymore, sadly. But that was a small student gym where I ran fitness classes and looked after the pool, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it taught me a lot. And as well, when I went in there, when I had my job interview, they weren't offering personal training from the gym. And I said to the manager at the time, I said, it's something that I want to bring in because it's a career that I want to go into. Like, fitness instructing is one thing, teaching classes, but personal training is it's completely different.
Yeah, definitely.
So I worked for a year putting a business plan together, ended up bringing that into the club. And then from there, once I got a full client roster, as well as working full-time hours, they wouldn't let me drop my hours down any more than what I did. I think I was doing 30 hours gym work, and then I was doing 10, 20 hours PT on top of that. That's when I came to you. So I'd met you 1 or 2 times before. I think I'd been on the suspended movement course with you.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And then you just put up a Facebook post saying I'm doing a mentorship program.
Yeah.
If you're interested in it, then drop me a message. Drop you that message. You said, yeah, get on it. So I remember I bought all the books that you recommended, about 5 books.
Yeah.
Straight away, started reading through them. And then you got back to me and you said, out of the people that had applied for it, you thought that I was maybe the only one that would fit.
True.
So it was turned into a one-to-one.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
That ran for 6 months.
Yeah, I think it were, yeah.
And then as I was going through that, it gave me a lot more structure to how I was training people. I wasn't any longer sitting down for an hour trying to write out one session that had nothing to do with the one before it. It gave me sort of the exercise pathway that you still use now. And it just showed me how to progress a client from day one till however long you need to.
Yeah.
And then from there, the whole time I was on the mentorship down at Performance 100 at your facility, I just pieced together in my head, I thought, well, I'm working all these hours and I could probably do this. So just got the ball rolling, and before, I think by the end of that mentorship,
Yeah.
I had my own unit. So
Yeah.
since then, I created my own business, Strength Positive. It was a small 290 square foot facility.
Yeah.
Standard equipment in there, power cage, dumbbells, a bench, and a few bands, and that was it for me.
Yeah.
And then from there, I had that unit for a year and a half. For whatever reason, it didn't work out there in the centre that I was at with the people that were surrounding me. So I took a leap of faith, moved into a bigger facility, a bigger unit. When I moved in there, I couldn't afford the overheads, but I had a lot of support behind me. And by that point, I'd built up a bit of a, more credibility, a bit more of a reputation. And then since then, I've been in there nearly 2 years now, and it's just blown up.
Yeah. Bro.
So I'd say a long story short, but.
Mate, no, perfect. Amazing. And I remember it all very, 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 very clearly and well. I remember writing the book. I remember having the mentorship idea for a while. This is not about me, so I'm not going to talk about too long, but up until 2013, I was probably actually technically up until about 2015, I was a lecturer in a college. The last 2 years of which was running an ice hockey academy. The 3 or 4 years before that was teaching and running a degree level program in a college. And ultimately, doing all that, you spend a lot of time working with very good level students that want to be personal trainers, coaches, etc. And kind of as a tutor or lecturer, you almost become like a mentor as well. And although lots of teachers used to hate they were called one-to-one tutorials, I used to love them. I used to look forward to those. I used to really like talking to the really good students about what they're doing, what they want to be, etc. Anyway, so that kind of always had the idea in my mind that, if and when you do go self-employed, maybe start to do something a little bit more like that, but bigger in the form of a kind of coaching mentorship. So I was quite new to my facility at the time then, so it took me a while to set it up. But when I felt confident, I did. And you were literally the first person that replied. I think I put the post on, and within an hour, I think we were chatting and in dialogue. Yeah. And over the next few days, there was various people that got in touch. And if they're listening now, I mean no disrespect whatsoever, but I could just tell straight away that they weren't right for the program. And when I was giving out recommended reading lists, whereas they were saying, "Oh God, do I have to read all these?" Or "Do you know where I can get them cheaper?" Or "Can't I just have a look at yours?" You were like, "All right, bought them." When I would tell people the prices, and they were like, "Oh right, what about this? What about that?" And what if I only do it once a month? How much will it be? You were like, "What's your price? I'll pay it." And what that proved to me is that as perfectly fine as those other people were, they just weren't ready for the mentorship and what I wanted it to be, whereas you were, in the perfect place. And within the first hour of the session, I could tell how professional you were, how diligent you were. When I was speaking, you were listening, you weren't just hearing, two very, very different things. We, for want of a better word, I gave you homework and tasks and you did it. Mm-hmm. And, I knew you'd be a star. I knew you did. I think I put a post on not long into your mentorship saying that you'd be a star, and it's proven, mate. So, well done. Very, very proud of you. One thing in particular, though, Josh, that I love about you is that, and I think this is a hallmark of all brilliant coaches, is their coaching style and philosophy is different to other ones. Now, that doesn't mean that other ones are wrong, and I could give you a list of who I think are the best 10 personal trainers in Rotherham and Sheffield, and I'm sure you would have a very similar list. A lot of these people are now well known, but how one person does things is how different to another person does it, and how she does it is different to how another person does it. And I think in the last few years, you've developed your own very unique coaching style and philosophy. And I think that's probably really helped then, in your kind of facility Mac 2. First one didn't work out as well, maybe. Yeah. But kind of by the time you'd open the second one, you had an identity, and then that's what kind of people flood. So I know what, or I think I do. I think I know what that training philosophy and style is. Yeah. How would you describe it though?
It's a good question. What I think of it is that it's as simple as it possibly can be.
Yeah.
So my sort of tagline is to help people get strong and just to enjoy exercise.
Okay.
And I like to do it in a way that doesn't put people off from the beginning. So
yeah,
some of it I've taken from all different places and coaches, but a lot of it initially came from, as I had mentioned earlier, with the exercise pathway and the structure that I learned on your mentorship. So taking an exercise and then knowing how to progress it and regress it. And it doesn't always mean, you have to be careful with progressing and regressing, because it doesn't always mean that you're regressing somebody by putting them onto another exercise. It just means that maybe that variation of it wasn't for that person.
Yeah.
So it's really finding out how people move and then what exercises work best for them, and then really what they enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And putting aspects of that into it as well, and opening their eyes to different things. So really, I just say my philosophy is keeping it as simple as possible, and keep them coming back and enjoying it, and obviously progressing as well. So early on, I was doing a lot of glute training.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people still know me for that, and I still get messages on for advice on it and stuff like that. But I try not to put myself in any one area now. I just take bits from each area and then apply it to whoever I've got in front of me.
So it's your philosophy, but it's quite a fluid philosophy as well, isn't it? You know, I think some people become very dogmatic in the way that they coach people. You know, maybe that's because because they train. Maybe they've had a mentor or a teacher that said it's got to be this specific way. I think sometimes as well, you know, coaches train very, very, very specific groups of people. You know, and so styles and systems have got to be very similar. But I think you're absolutely right. I think, you know, because I kind of share those ideas as well, is that you have to view every person as an individual. You know, every client's a case study of one, aren't they? And you know, one of the reasons why, you remember, I do the exercise pathway is, yes, it serves as a way of safely and actively screening a client. You know, yes, it provides foundations and standards to fall back on in case they get injured or whatever. But for me as well, it's just giving me 2 or 3 weeks to find out about that person specifically. You know, what are the motivations? What are the drivers? What are the home life is like? Are they going to be a client that comes late or one that comes early? Are they committed or not? Do they respond to autocratic or democratic coaching styles? And so on and so forth. And ultimately, as we work through the exercise pathway and we get more and more specific in terms of what we do, my training style and philosophy then becomes more akin to kind of what they like ultimately. You know, and some people will disagree, you know, and again, I could give you a list of PTs and coaches who say, no, that's not the way. You know, you tell them it's this way or the highway, and if they don't like it, they go somewhere else. And, you know, if that works for them, that's fine. But I think me and you are of a similar style when it comes to what we just said, don't we?
Yeah, and I do think as well that, like you said, there's nothing wrong with the people that are sort of stuck in the ways or that have the method, because, you know, it works for them, and they might have their niche, and
absolutely
the clients might love it. So
absolutely, you know, listen, you know, it's a cliche, isn't it now? But success leaves clues, you know, and if someone has got a lot of clients and financially they're doing well and it's safe and clients are getting results, then, you know, it's a bit foolish and naive really to kind of criticize that as a philosopher just because it doesn't meet yours. But you know, I think it is good to have an idea of who you are as a coach and a person. So I think another similarity between you and me, Joshua, is the style of training facility that we've got, haven't we? The rise of the unit gyms, you know, the mammal to the dinosaur, which makes no sense to anybody else except me and you. But yeah, I mean, my kind of backstory behind why I wanted a gym like I've got is because ultimately I learned to train in my dad's garage. You know, I was lifting weights at probably 13, seriously from 14, 15 in a real working class house garage. It wasn't a unit gym, it was a garage. A lot of the weights in there, my dad had like robbed, borrowed and stolen, made over years and years. And ultimately, as rough and ready as it was, that was my playground, that was my education. To the point where in 1999, when I started to go and work in commercial gyms, as nice as they were, they always felt quite alien to me. I mean, I worked for a short while at Fitness First in Rotherham, it's now iMotion. Yep. And it was just, you know, it was a good learning curve, but I just didn't like it. It was just too big, there was just too much happening. And I always said that if and when I had my own place, I would purposely want it to resemble a garage, you know, and that's kind of what it's done. And I'm very proud to say that a lot of the people that have worked for me there or I have mentored have then gone on to open their own garage unit style gyms as well, such as you. So, you know, in terms of opening then a unit style gym, was that always a goal like mine, or was it just something that kind of came to you as and when during the mentorship? Or tell me a bit about that.
It never even crossed my mind. I sort of, from what I remember, I had a plan. So once I got the personal training up and going in the gym, my goal was just to go pretty much full-time PT, self-employed.
Yeah.
It wasn't to own a gym or anything like that. And then it was when I was on the mentorship, you never said go out and do it. It was more of myself just thinking, right, I could potentially free up all this time. I could probably do it closer to home, and be my own boss, really, which I'd never been before. Yeah. And I'd always been one of those people that whenever I moved into a role, whether it be working in a supermarket, a nightclub, working on a cruise ship, I've done all call center. Yeah, I've always wanted to improve. And when I was given that ceiling in the gym, I was thinking, right, how can I break through it? What is the next step for me? And then it was on the mentorship where I was like, well, Mick's doing this and he's training these people and is doing it in this size unit and it's in this location. And then I started doing a bit of research. Luckily, my dad's a business advisor.
Yeah, he actually helped me set my facility up as well. Yeah, great guy.
He helped me a lot in the initial phases of getting it up and running. And then from there, it was just a matter of building awareness, really. And then what I was thinking once I got it going was, how can I get it bigger? I wanted it to be a much bigger facility with a lot more trainers in. And now I'm at the sort of place where, going forwards, I'm happy where I'm at. Understanding that taking the leap to a bigger unit, the overheads, the staffing responsibilities. Do I want that? I mean, I've had a lot of stress in the past few years just with this running it on my own. Yeah. I'm in a good place at the minute. I've got good systems. I've got Rob helping out, another coach.
Yeah, great guy.
On my camp, and that was the first camp that I ran before lockdown, and that blew up. Had some amazing results.
Strong your clients on that camp.
Yeah.
It's not just group training, is it? It's like strength group training. It's great.
Well, that's the thing. It's like your clients. I treat everybody individually. So the idea behind this camp and this group program was to get it as close to one-to-one training as possible.
Yeah,
so,
brilliant.
Well, for bringing another coach in, who shares similar philosophies and is willing to work with me, then it'd be a no-brainer, really. And it's took off. Sold out, first one. Second one sold out, and then I added another additional time slot, and that almost sold out before lockdown.
Bro, buzzing. Good. Success leaves clues, mate. Yeah. I mean, I think in the last probably 5-6 years, there's been like a bit of an explosion of like unit type gyms, hasn't there? You know, as I've just said, I've got my own kind of specific reasons as to why I wanted a garage unit type gym, but I think what a lot of people have realised is that I don't quite know when it happened or how it happened or why it happened, but certainly when I started off as an instructor PT, they were all salaried jobs. You worked in a gym, you got paid a wage, that was it, you know, no problem. And then around about, I don't know, 2010, 11, something like that, we started to see, it blows my mind how this were even legal, gyms actually charging PTs to work there. And, you know, initially it started off at like £250, £300 a month, and it slowly crept up. And, you know, at one point, PTs were having to pay gyms like £500 a month to have the privilege of working in their gym under their rules and regulations. And so I think a natural reaction to that was always going to be people going, no, hang on, you know, for £400 a month, I can have my own facility, overheads included, I can get a small business loan, I can buy all my kit, and I can be my own boss as well. So I think that's kind of contributed, you know, towards it as well. I think, like you've said, you know, the same, you know, the amount of admin and paperwork and issues that my small facility provides, it's crazy sometimes. But I then kind of remember that if I had owned a big commercial gym, you know, and I had memberships and stuff like that, just what would the headaches be? And some people like that, but I've always considered myself more of a coach, as a teacher, as opposed to a businessman. You know, I'm not an entrepreneur or fitpreneur, whatever they call. That's not me. That's not what I do. So, you know, certainly having a place where I can focus more on the coaching and teaching, and keep all headaches and stress and maintenance to a limited amount is good for me. It kind of keeps my head clear and allows me to concentrate and focus on what I like and what I think I'm better at as well.
I think that's a good point that you say that, you know, you're more of a coach than a business person. Yeah. And I remember when I set out on my own and got my facility, I felt more like a business person in the beginning. Yeah. I think for anybody that's looking to do it, it's very important to look at people who have already done what you're wanting to do. Because I've had consultation calls, and I've done different mini mentorships, or I've hired people who were more the business side of it. And I'm like, you are more of a coach in that, like, I'm not bothered about learning about accountancy and all that. Obviously, I know the basics and pay an accountant for that. I'm more about getting in there, helping people and training than I am looking to scale and set up all these funnels and all that. Some people are more into that, but as I said before, I'm happy where I'm at the minute. I'm doing coaching. I've got the balance right now. I'm not working all hours of the day. I'm able to help more people. But I had made the mistake of hiring people that didn't have the same philosophies as me, and then just added a lot more stress to what I was trying to do. So
I think that's always the paradox of business gurus, isn't it? Ultimately, they're a business guru because they think they're a business person. So, you know, while they're talking about the importance of coaches having funnels and understanding SEO and this sort of marketing, they're actually kind of doing that to you. You're within their kind of funnel, aren't you, ultimately? And I don't think a lot of them care about coaching a lot. I've not met them all. I don't know them all. So that's a very wide sweeping statement. But from the ones that, you know, I do know a little bit about, or from what I've been told, they view you as a commodity. and they think that you should view your clients as a commodity. Get them in, get them in, get them in, get them in. Give them the bare minimum. If they want anything else, they have to pay for it. It's all about making money. And you know, I think if you were dealing in robots, that might work, but you know, you're dealing with people here, and that you can have your funnels and you can have your SEO and all the fancy marketing strategies you want, but in my opinion, your very best marketing available is being a good coach, is being good at what you do. You know, whenever you do a good session with a client and they go home and they put it on their social media, how great it was, how much they like you, how much they're succeeding, that is just worth its weight in gold these days. It's more than anything. You know, it's more than anything. And you know, a lot of young coaches and PTs tell me, sorry, the sun's getting a little bit bad. They tell me that, you know, oh Mick, I can't get clients, and you know, I'm spending all day at home, you know, writing content and doing this and doing that. I'm just like, just don't coach people. You know, just go into the gym, you know, walk the gym floor, talk to people, offer group sessions, offer discounted sessions, train your best mate for some marketing materials. Yeah, it's very old school, that. It's very, very old school, but that always works best.
Yeah, focus on the people in front of you.
Yeah,
they're the best marketing. Like you
absolutely.
and I don't put any. I don't try and sell my services online anymore. Really, like if I've got a camp coming up, I'll put up a post about it. But really, I just like showing people the work that I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
And the thing with, like, you take things from different people. So, like, if you do hire a business coach and it doesn't work for you, which it hasn't for me with some coaches before, I have taken things from them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You learn something from everyone. But one thing that I would say is, if you create all these amazing systems that are driving all these leads to you, what are you going to do when they come knocking on your door? Are you able to cater for them?
Yeah.
Do you have systems in place? Do you have the experience to handle that amount of people and work with clients at any one time? So I think focusing on the people that are in front of you first, your clients, and getting results from them, they'll be your advertising if you do a good job with them. Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, again, certainly for me and other people will be different, it just doesn't feel right to me doing something that I don't want to do or that my heart is not in. As I mentioned already, up until 2013, 14, I kind of worked in full-time education. You know, in 1999 when I started as a 17-year-old, I was an instructor, PT, blah, 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 sports coach. But the next 11, 12 years were spent as a tutor, as a lecturer. And at one point I loved it, but towards the back end of it, as good as the roles were, you know, like leading a degree program and stuff like that, it's amazing. But I was being asked to do things that weren't necessarily wrong, just that I didn't believe in and I didn't think were right. And that to me just created a disconnect. You know, it's okay getting paid well. It's okay people perceiving you as being successful. But, you know, if when you get in bed at night, you think, nah, it's just not right, that, you know, that I think that eats away at you, and it's done to me in the past. So I turn clients away on a daily basis, and I'm sure you do as well. Mm-hmm. More often than not, it's because I just can't accommodate them. I'm at capacity, I can't get them in.
Yep.
In other cases, though, it's just that they're asking for something that I can't give or I just don't believe in.
Yep.
And again, that's not me saying what they want to do is wrong, absolutely not. But I would rather wait for a client that I want to train than I don't want to train. And I think that's an issue that a lot of PTs and coaches have. I think they're in such a desperate attempt to sell, which I understand. I fully get that. I fully understand the financial pressures. But, you know, to use that word again, I just think it creates that disconnect.
No, definitely. I've had clients before where, you know, it just, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. And some clients, you may continue to train them, but your heart and your head are telling you different things. And like you said, you do go to bed sometimes at night thinking, God, you know, is this right? Should I be training them? I'm getting paid,
Yeah.
but I can say now that everybody that I train,
Yeah.
yeah, time.
Yeah, good, same, yeah, same. You know, people ask me all the time, you know, sneakily, what's your worst session of the week? Who do you think, oh God, I've got them? And there's honestly no one. Yeah. There's no one client on my timetable that I think, I don't fancy that today. Mm-hmm. And I think that's success in itself, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
You know. So nearly done, mate. Nearly done. So what about the future of Josh McDool and Strength Positive? Obviously, lockdown has thrown a spanner in the works. I think it's a needed spanner. You know, I think as bad as it is to say, you know, possibly gyms should have been closed maybe a little bit earlier. Very sad to say, I think there's been a few facilities that have still been working sneakily, certainly for the first few weeks of lockdown as well. But, you know, certainly you and me weren't. I was working as normal up until that Monday night when we were placed in full lockdown. And then literally since then, I've not taught any clients one-to-one. I've not even trained at my facility, and I could probably have argued that I could have trained, but I've not. In fact, I've only been down 5 minutes at a time every fortnight to check security, and I think pretty much you're the same, really. So during lockdown then, you know, what have you continued to do work-wise? Has it caused any major real issues or problems, or have you been able to transition accordingly?
So I didn't offer online training for a year up until lockdown, but I've had a system in place that I've just been able to fall back on quite easily. I've lost a bit of money, like income, but that's mainly through the camps not running. Yeah. But it's nothing that I've worried about because I've always sort of kept reserves.
Savings. Yeah.
Savings.
A lot of people are realising about what we meant about that, aren't we?
Yeah. So I'm doing the online training aspect of it, and I've been picking up new clients. Again, completely different individuals, some injury rehab, another one muscular development, fat loss. So it's going good. I'm not advertising anything at the minute. And as I said before we jumped on the call, I've just been focusing on myself, really. Past 3 years, I've worked non-stop, as most personal trainers do.
Yeah.
On holiday. I was supposed to be going on holiday this weekend.
Oh, no.
But, you know, it happens.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of personal development, a lot of learning, and just clearing my head, really. So I'm in a good space at the minute. As for the future of SP, I'd just started, as I mentioned, the first physique camp back in January, finished in March, and then we went into lockdown. So my focus going forward is going to be building that, running more camps, more different slots through the week. And then from there, I think maybe doing some kind of internship. SP. So get some more coaches on board, some younger coaches, whether or not they end up working down here on the camps or if they go on to their own facilities like I did with you. Yeah. That's sort of the direction I'm going down. I think less one-to-one, more camps. As I said, the quality of the camps is that high now that I can afford to step away a little bit from one-to-one, get more time. Yeah. Just for myself, really. And then hopefully get some kind of internship program. But that's maybe looking at next year.
Yeah, of course. Mate, and you would be amazing at it. And it's no surprise that you've not only become so successful, Joshua, but you've remained humble and, you know, the same personality that you were 2013, 14, whenever it was that I kind of first met and taught you. And I think what's one of your key reasons behind your success. I think your natural personality, I think you're just a brilliant guy, and whatever you would have done as a career, you'd have been great at it. But, you know, right at the start of this chat, you know, you said in 2013, you know, you were working between 40 and 50 hours a week. You were doing business plans. You were doing a variety of things. Ultimately, you spent time in the trenches. You paid your dues. And when I'm teaching personal trainers, I can't stress that enough. And, you know, at the end of the level 3 PT qualification I teach, there's a little segment like what happens next. And I always tell people, I say, listen, please remember that this qualification you've now got, it's the start point. Yep. It's not the end point. You know, I said, listen, you have to use it as a chance to now go into gyms, to work in commercial gyms, to train clients, to train a variety of clients, to find out what you're good at, what you're not, who you like, who you don't like. You know, use it as a springboard to other qualifications. And lots of people nod and go, yeah, I get that. Some you can just see them shaking their head thinking, no chance. I've already got a website. I've already got my own business set up. I'm going to take over the world. Yeah. And sometimes they do. Brilliant, fair play. But, you know, in my experience, 9 out of 10 of those people don't achieve that. And, you know, that's no surprise, is it? I think in almost every other industry, there's an expectation that you get qualified and you spend at least a few years paying your dues. Yeah. And then, you know, when you've got experience and savings and qualifications, then you move on. You know, you don't get any builders straight out of college setting up their own building business. No. You don't get any chefs straight out of chef college, whatever it's called. Not called that, but you know what I mean? Running their own kitchens. And there's reasons for that. And so I think above a lot of natural qualities that you've got, Josh, I think all those hours, 2013, long hours, early mornings, late nights, doing stuff that you don't want to do, it's kind of paid off, mate. So well done, mate. Well done. I am proud as punch of you. Not just in terms of how you've done, but just to know you and call you a colleague as well. And when lockdown's over, mate, your physique camps they'll be packed. No doubt at all that you will achieve whatever you want to do in life, Josh. The man.
Thanks a lot. And I always say the best investment that I've made with that mentorship back in 2016, 17.
Yeah, I think it were, yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, mate, listen, I really appreciate that. I do. You were the first on it. You know, I've had a lot of excellent students on it since. You know, quite a few have gone on to open their own facilities or are planning to do that. But, you know, you will always be the first one, Josh. And I'll never forget that, mate. Yeah. Top man. Until we chat again, take care, stay safe, stay at home.
Yes,
cheers,
too.
Man. Take care.
Cheers,
bye. Bye.